Grand Rising, Kings and Queens. This is the Great Debate Show with your host Jarvis Jeffries, Terrence Smith. We're back, better than ever, baby. Up in this bitch for another episode. They call us the good guys, and the good guys are back for another episode, and we want to talk about the AFC and NFC divisional round. In the NFL playoffs, divisional round, we had a lot of games, 4 of them to be exact. But right now, we're starting off right off the gun with Terrence's Baltimore Ravens. They had to go to Buffalo, and we said that it wouldn't be a problem. We knew that they wouldn't run through or just straight up drag the Bills like they did back in like week 4, week 5 for the regular season. But we didn't think that they would lose this game into how they lost this game. I'm not gonna say much or waste any more time here. I'm gonna give it straight to Terrence, the Baltimore Raven fan. I'm not even gonna ask how you're doing. I'll let you have it from here, man. The Ravens lose to the Bills, and once again, all the things that I've said about the greatest football player in the world, Lamar Jackson, he has yet lost another playoff game. The mainstream media is ready to light him up. What do you have to say about your team, unbiased as can be, about Lamar, your Ravens as a whole, in this whole season debacle I think that they seem to have here?
And kind of like I said in the before we went on air here, the worst part about it to me is that in the last, I would say, 3 seasons, there's only been one or two teams to legitimately beat Baltimore, legitimately beat them down. Uh, but the team that has beaten Baltimore more than any team has been Baltimore. Today was a prime example. You got picks, which Lamar threw what 4 of those in the regular season. And even in that situation, only one of them was a legitimate pick. The rest of them hit players in the hands. I'll talk about that in just a second, of course. You got fumbles, guys just trying to do too much. Same as in the playoffs as last year when Flowers was trying to do too much. Like plays like that. Um, I do want to give credit to Buffalo. They made some plays. It's not like that. I don't want to make it sound like that they were just out there and Baltimore ran backwards the whole game. It was a play where Derrick Henry broke off and well, looked like it was about to be a 60, 70-yard touchdown run. And shout out to DeMar Hamlin, man. He made a good play. A lot of safeties cannot say that they tackled Derrick Henry in the open field. But he went low and he got him to the ground, man. There's not a lot of guys that can say they did that. Um, but at the end of the day, you have to beat teams in the playoffs, and you definitely can't give them ammunition. You can't load the gun, turn around and hand it to them, and they're not going to shoot you with it. And I think that's exactly what Baltimore did today. Um, like I said, drop passes. Mark Andrews, typically a sure-handed guy, but he's had in my opinion, some noticeable drops over the last couple of years or so that just kind of it's kind of bothersome, and it just reared its ugly head today, man. Dropped an early pass in the game, made a big catch on I think a third down, and then fumbled. The 2-point conversion that would have tied the game and possibly sit in overtime. It's not a guarantee. Buffalo still had Josh Allen with like a minute or something to go. Maybe they drive and get a field goal and win the game. You never know. But at the same time, you got to catch. I mean, that is a catch that even if you're in middle school or high school, you got to make that catch. And I know the dialogue in the morning is going to be on Lamar. Lamar could have played better in the first half. I think the second half he was pretty good. But that's a lot of questions, man. And it's easy to sit back at a loss and question these things. But the bottom line is you cannot continue to shoot yourself in the foot and then try to win a foot race. And because Buffalo is in a situation where did Josh Allen even pass the ball 15 times today? I don't know. I don't have a good look at the box score, but I don't even think Josh Allen had 150 yards passing. Like they put him in a position where all he had to do was pretty much run the ball today. And in a snowy day, inclement weather, the team with the less turnovers is going to win the game in all likelihood. So kudos to Buffalo, but it's just tough to be a fan of a team that beats themselves, and I think that's what Baltimore did today.
Yeah, Josh Allen, to answer your question though, Terrence, Josh Allen did not. He actually did get over 15 completions, 16 of 22. Only 127 yards passing though, and still got a good win.
You know, and we went into the season about Buffalo talking about their receivers, right? Like their receivers are not great, in our opinion. I think Shakir is pretty. He's cool. He's not, he's not a slap. Make them pass the ball.
Yeah.
Make them pass the ball. But I know we got a rookie D coach, and we'll talk about Harbaugh in a second with his non-coaching self sometimes in the playoffs. But good win, Buffalo, man. I'm not about to sit here and cry with spilled milk. Good win, Buffalo. They played a tough game. I've called them fake tough a lot of times. Today they were actually the tougher team.
Yeah, Terrence, you have thrown your shots in the past
Yeah. Yep.
about the Buffalo Bills and them,
Yep.
being soft and not ready for you guys. It certainly has kind of looked like that too here recently. But nah, man, that game, and again, if you look at how the first half turned out, it looked to me as if Baltimore just kind of gave that away. They kind of gave that to them. 2 turnovers from Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
He's going to get dumped about that in the morning. First thing tomorrow,
Yep.
you're going to hear it all day, all week. I told you Lamar Jackson couldn't do this. I told you he's this or that. But again, man, it's like, damn, you can't fumble. The interception, I'll live with it. At least it was deep. It was almost kind of like a punt. But the fumble, man, no, man. You got to take care of the football, bro. And he didn't do
Yeah.
that. You can't
Right.
be all really loose with the ball like that, like he was. And those were 2 costly turnovers. And then there's, Mark Andrews, with his costly turnover. That turnover is not on Lamar Jackson, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he lost. They're going to say you can't win. You're not a playoff guy, and that's what it looks like right now. And I'm not going to make any more excuses for him. He could have played better, but the team as a whole could have played better. My only question to everything that Lamar Jackson is going to take, Terrence, is why won't there be any criticism on the head coach, John Harbaugh? He never gets any criticism. And he loses all of these playoff games just like Lamar Jackson has. And I just wonder, are they finally going to call him out? There was a lot of things that I saw that could have been better. The play calling was suspect offensively by the Ravens. They're throwing blitzes at you. Where's the screens at, bro? Lamar Jackson killed the Pittsburgh Steelers last weekend because he was running the football. There was no Lamar Jackson running the football.
Yep.
You can see the blitz that the running game was good. They were getting away from it at times once again. And, stop trying to let Lamar Jackson beat you the way we all want to see, or the way you think we all want to see him win the game. In the
Yep.
pocket, leading the defense, winning it with his mind, with his arm, not just his legs. Man, just win the game. However, you have to win the game by any means necessary. And we'll judge all of that other bullshit later because that's all that is. Get the dub, and we'll go from there. But
Right.
no, we didn't get the dub. They didn't win. It's gonna all fall on him. Once again, you feel for him. I feel for him. But it goes back to what I've always said. I never thought he'd win a Super Bowl in the first place, but there was this gematria riddle that I was going with for the conspiracy theorists out there, that may follow me. It was because I thought, oh, this is the year. The Ravens are going to go all the way. This is it. They're going back to Lamar. And then, Terrence, you sent me something on social media that you found that showed me otherwise, that told me otherwise, that, man, that's not going to happen. And if it's on the internet, everything that I thought would happen, and them winning every 12 years, and their quarterback being 28, blah, blah, blah. And the Ravens didn't do any of that this year. So, 2 upsets this weekend, and we're going to get to the other one here in a minute. But, yeah, Terrence, yep, that's how it goes once again. Is there anything your Ravens can do to get over the hump, to get past Josh Allen, to get past Patrick Mahomes? Are there any acquisitions that need to be made? Should there be a change of coaching staff? I didn't like the offense or the defensive coordinating. Are there personnel issues? Was it just Zay Flowers being absent? What do you think can happen that can change where they finally can. We can start talking about Lamar Jackson in the playoffs.
Uh, you know what? They don't really, in my opinion now, they don't really have a lot of holes on the team. I think it's a situation where they can still improve, maybe with a good young pass rusher. Maybe another linebacker to go with Roquan. Maybe even a corner because the pass defense was very suspect until later in the year. Um, I always believe they can use another receiver. However, they decide to acquire that receiver, if maybe somebody cheaper in free agency, maybe it's somebody through the draft. Um, Yeah, I mean they can improve, but there's not one position on the field where I say this is a direct need, and that's a good place and bad place to be. I think your 49ers, I think, have been in that were in that place for a few years there where they were just so good to the point to where they didn't have any like real serious needs. But if there's one thing I can say that the Ravens could probably improve on is a consistent pass rush. Uh, Preferably through the interior, so maybe a D tackle or a D end somewhere, outside linebacker. However they want to do it. I love Oway, but Oway ain't consistent enough. He's a good edge setter, but he ain't consistent enough. So if you can get a good pass rusher through D tackle or D end where you don't have to commit to a blitz all the time, I think that would be the way to go. Um, but they're at a point now. Well, see, Jarvis, I didn't even think they needed Derrick Henry. Like Derrick Henry was not a necessity to me. It was very much a luxury. Um, you go to the dealership looking for a Honda, you come away with a Cadillac, and they got a Cadillac. So I think the whole team right now is in a situation where there's not a real need. Like if they roll the same team by next year, they're probably still betting favorites for a lot of people. But there are some luxuries out there that they can get, and I hopefully they get aggressive.
Okay, that's something that the Ravens don't hardly do
No,
in free agency, but
yeah,
they have been able to draft well, and but if they could get a
right,
mixture of both, then I think that would be a formula of success. Once
yeah,
again, another down year for Lamar Jackson. I have raved on and on about how Lamar is the best football player in the world and how people need to get off his back. They're riding him a little too hard, I think. He hadn't had any talent. I mean, Rashawn Bateman and Zay Flowers. Again, nobody talks about them when they talk top five, top 10. They don't come up in the conversation, even though that they have them. And Derrick Henry finally has some talent, but at the same time, I'm like, hey man, he puts the team on his back, and they're
yeah,
everywhere that they get, it's where he takes them. They only go as far as he takes them. But in the postseason, I have to admit, it has to be better. The performances have to be better. Again, he did get a wild card win last week, but that's not enough. They're not going to get off of his ass until he goes at least to the championship game. But they wanted
yeah,
him to at least, but they wanted him to go to the Super Bowl because he's
yeah.
a back-to-back MVP guy. Now, Josh Allen, he's going to be the MVP. I'm pretty sure that's already in the bag.
You know what? He earned it today.
Yeah, but
I,
I mean,
I
today
thought the
didn't
winner of
count.
this game. I mean, today
I mean,
doesn't count. Today doesn't count. Right,
okay.
but I think the winner of this game, give it to him. I think that's fair in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think he was already MVP before this game. But yeah, I mean, it definitely is going to look like he should be
Oh,
when
b-
he's in the AFC
bef-
Championship game.
before we get out this game, I don't know how much of it you watched or how much of the commentary you listened to, but today I heard the most biased commentary, and you never hear me complain about commentary. This is probably the first on the show for me. But Tony Romo was so biased towards Buffalo, man. Like I am disappointed because I have been a fan of Tony Romo. I was slick a fan of him when he played. Like I thought they had great teams over in Dallas. They just couldn't get over the hump for whatever reason. Dez did catch that ball, uh, but I am thoroughly disappointed in the way he commented today's game. I mean, there were times in the game where he's like, "All right, they're gonna score a touchdown." Like who? You can't do that, man. And even on like the pass interference call, which you can clearly see the offensive player push after they got tangled up, which the offensive player and defensive player are allowed to put hands on each other. If you're gonna call it one way, you have to call it both ways. But the offensive player pushes Tre'Davious White, and Romo was like, "Oh yeah, that's clear as pass interference," and the ref was like, "Nah, man, it's not pass interference." Like it's a shame how biased Tony Romo is. And I don't, for whatever his reason is, it is what it is. But I was just disappointed because I've always been a fan of Romo.
Yeah, 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 man. I have no idea where that came from or what that's about. Um, you would think he would do that maybe toward the Eagles, or I don't know what that was, but yeah, you hear that sometimes with some of these players now doing commentary, which I think is a mistake sometimes. Uh, Tom Brady, his commentary has been pretty bad, and there's some things that he says at times where it's like, hmm, why did you say that about them, or why won't you give them the credit, but why won't you? It just some
Right.
stuff seems to be a little bit personal or biased sometimes with some of the things that I may hear. So, and then some people just don't have the voice for it, and I hate some annoying voices. And sorry, he's the goat on the field, but off the field, I think he should go. I think he should go full time dealing with the Raiders and that whole head coaching search and all of that. But I think he should. I think he should call it quits after this one season. I mean, we're stuck with Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. He's doing the Super Bowl. Like Greg Olson is a really good commentator, or what they call it,
Yeah.
maybe the color commentator
Analyst,
guy.
play by play. Yeah, not
Play
play
by
by
play.
play, but color,
Yeah,
color. He's a color. Is what they call it.
yeah. Greg Olson is pretty damn good as it gets. I think he's very underrated, and they demoted him. He slid down a notch when they brought in Tom Brady, and yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really like that decision right there by Fox, and but yeah, I hear what you're saying about Romo. I'm kind of like Shannon Sharp now. I watch the game with it on mute, and I'll just go off what I saw when I'm ready to talk about this stuff here. I don't need to listen to half the things that they say. Hey, now that we're talking about it, since we're talking about the commentary, I'm gonna get into this next upset right quick. But I just want to ask a quick debate. Maybe we can have a quick debate here. What is the best commentary team right now? I don't know.
Mm. Man, that's a good question.
Do you got a top three, or do you just want to give me a top one? It's okay.
Ooh. Well, mm,
So just to let the people know why you think about it, you got
okay.
you've got of course who we just heard, Tony Romo and Jim Nantz on CBS. They're like the head honchos of that network. And then you've got when they do the game of the weeks on Fox, it's what's his name, Kevin Buckhart, Kevin I
Hmm.
think I don't want to mess his name up, but Kevin
Right.
something. And KB used to be with Greg Olson, and now it's Tom Brady and him. So
Yeah.
those are the two, for Fox, which kind of took a dip in my opinion. Now, I love Greg
Mm.
Olson. I'm sorry. And then you've got on NBC the Sunday night games. You've got Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico, and of course on ESPN there's Joy. There's not Joy. Why did I say Joy? Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. I meant to say Troy, but I said Joe. No, I'm serious. Nah, that was an accident. I promise. I was trying to say Troy, but I said Joe instead, and that just turned out to be Troy. I swear I didn't mean to do that. If anybody knows what's going on, you get it. What's going on with the FS1
Oh
people?
boy.
No,
Whew.
seriously, no pun intended. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on ESPN. So before we get into the next game, who you got? I mean, that's
Man, I'll say this.
oh,
Mm, it's a tough one for me, but I feel like, and it might be a shocker to a lot of people, but I think I'm more of a fan of Tarico and Collinsworth. And I know a lot of
okay.
folks hate Collinsworth, but you know what? He gets a
Yeah.
little animated with his analysis, but he's still smart. He's still knowledgeable of the game, and I think I will go with Tarico and Collinsworth. Actually, as a matter of fact, I still like Troy Aikman. I think he's a very underrated color guy, very
Color guy.
smart guy, and he calls it down the middle. I think more times than not. Um, so it would be a toss up between one of those two, but I will go with Tarico and Collinsworth. I think Collinsworth is a little bit better play by play guy than Joe Buck, so I'll give the nod to Rico and Collinsworth.
Okay. That's not a bad one, man. As a matter of fact, I was having this debate, and that's how I decided to throw it on here on the show. Me and my brother
That's a
was
good
debating.
question, though. That's a tough question.
Yeah, me and my brother was debating this, and he actually went with what you just went with, Tarico and Collinsworth. I'm gonna say that they're probably my number two because as much as I really don't like Collinsworth, he just kind of can be irritating at times. But he's a
Yeah.
49er hater. Everybody knows that. Like he really is kind of biased toward the Niners. So that's why I felt what you just said about Romo and your Ravens tonight.
It ain't the Niners' fault he dropped that ball.
Right. It's not. It's not. He has always kind of been. He's okay though, but he is good though. He is good, and I love Mike Tirico. So now that he's there full time, and Al Michaels went to Prime Video, they're my number two. But because I think Troy Aikman is just so real, and so unbiased, and he's been doing this for a
Yeah.
good 20 years now, um, I'm gonna go. I still got to go with my boys, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, just because of
Yeah.
Troy Aikman. And then Joe Buck, sometimes in certain games, I know he's had his dull moments and all of that, his boring moments. I've
Hmm.
seen the videos, but I've always thought he was one of my best. Certain moments of the game, if you're in the kitchen and you miss something, he has the voice that make you run back to the living room. Like, damn, what the
Yeah.
hell did I miss? He has the
Well,
voice, and he
I'll
has,
say this about I'll say this about Joe Buck, and I'm glad you brought it up.
yeah,
Uh, I wish there was a way that ESPN and Fox could work something out. Because Joe Buck on the World Series, man, it was always magical. It was, my childhood watching the World Series, even though I hated the Yankees, but Joe Buck and a lot of those late nights in October, man, like it didn't get any better than that. And I like him calling football games, but I think for me the peak play by play and I'll say throughout history for me is going to be a toss up between Bob Costas and Mike Green calling the NBA Finals and Joe Buck calling the World Series. To me, it doesn't get any better than that. So I just want to get that nod to Joe Buck, man. I still like him doing play by play in football. He's still really good. Outside of that one random off moment, I hadn't really had any any disdain for Joe Buck. But for right now, I'll still go with Tarico and Collinsworth.
right. Yeah, I remember that. That was one of the worst calls I think I've ever heard from Joe Book. But
Yeah,
because I loved every minute of what Randy Moss did to the Lambeau the Lambeau Field fans out there. That was crazy, classic stuff. But yeah, man. So that was a good debate, real quick. I'm going with the ESPN guys, and yeah, Fox is really hurting from losing those guys. I think they are now forcing you to go sign Tom Brady, pay him a bunch of money to do this. I'm sorry, he's okay and he knows the game, but it just doesn't quite work for me. But anyway, moving on. The Ravens wasn't the only shocker in my book because the Ravens was a shocker to me. I know the Bills are good and they had the home field advantage. I mean, well, they were the number two seed, so it's not like that was an upset. But it still shocked me that the Ravens are no longer playing. I just thought that Lamar and those guys really gonna stick it to whoever. Hey man, you're in our way. Boom, you're in our way. But go get out of here. I thought him and King Henry was gonna actually take this to New Orleans for the Super Bowl, and I was wrong. Both of my Super Bowl picks are out of the playoffs, Terrence, because not only did I pick the Ravens to be in the Super Bowl, I picked the Detroit Lions to be in the Super
yeah.
Bowl, and they're not because they lost to Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year, should probably still be MVP, but you know they won't give them both, and the Washington Commanders. Terrence, what happened and what does this mean for the Detroit Lions? Like, where do they go from here? I know this still is a good team and everything, and they had a lot of injuries on defense. But
Yeah.
where does this leave the Lions now? And man, what do you think about the Washington Commanders now? Are you really taking them serious to where they could actually be in the Super Bowl?
Well, I'll answer the second question first because it's a very short answer. Hell yeah, I'm taking them serious. And I know we had a moment on this show several months ago, probably week 4 or 5 in the regular season, where we asked one Nicholas about was he worried about the Commanders and about Jay Daniels, and he gave us an emphatic no. But I want to let Mr. Nicholas know he might want to worry, lose a little bit of sleep, because those guys are not going to go away easily. They will not go away easily. Jay Daniels does not look like a rookie. We almost need to stop calling him that. He does not look like a rookie. That man is like, as the old folks say, Jarvis, he's been here before. That man has been here before.
Right.
So that's a very quick answer to that one. As far as the Lions, weirdly, I think last year was the Lions' year, and I know they were better on paper this year, better record. I think the difference between this year and last year is that they started the season realizing how good they were, so they dominated teams. But last year, I thought they had a better chance to win it because, I mean, they had the 49ers on the road, and they just beat themselves essentially. I mean, they allowed the 49ers to stay in the fight, stay in the fight, stay in the fight long enough to where the 49ers, at some point, Fred Warner and those guys were going to make a play. And that's what happened. I think Fred Warner caused a fumble on Gibbs, and it went downhill from there. Um, yeah, so like it's just one of those things where I think last year was their best time to win. I think they have peaked, and we might not see this Detroit team at this iteration of it be as good next year. Teams are getting better around them. You think Washington's just getting started. They're gonna be better next year. I don't think Philly's going anywhere. You guys might make a comeback, who knows. But that's not to say they're gonna be bad. I just think that that window they had where they should have won, they've already gone through it. That's not to say that it's closing, but for right now, from what I've seen, they've had two great chances to win championships. They didn't, and you don't get too many of those things, man. At some point, this person leaves the free agency, this person gets traded, this player retires, or whatever the case may be. Jared Goff is going to be a year older. His knees, he still can't run. At some point, they better be trying to figure out what the hell is going to be behind him because this is just a notice to any teams, college or pro. If you have a quarterback that can't move, you have a bad quarterback. At some point, he's going to have to be able to run. All this immobile quarterback shit is dead. As Superman said, it's dead. Kill it.
Damn. Sad, 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 man, for the Detroit Lion fans. I really was rooting for them. I had them in the Super Bowl, and I would have been happy for them since my team didn't even make the postseason. I'm like, this
Right.
should be the year here. And I thought it was going to be. But, nah, I was wrong. I was wrong again with the Lions and the Ravens. Man, Jerry Goff, man, the pressure got to him. Like the Commanders are doing things that they didn't do in the regular season. For people that are asking or wondering how in the hell are the Washington Commanders doing this? How are they pulling this off? They're playing some damn defense. The past 2 weeks, they've done it against top-notch offenses. I mean, yes, the Lions put up 31 points eventually, but I mean everything was like a chase. They were coming from behind. It was some garbage, a little garbage time yards or whatever you want to call it. I mean, 40 attempts. It took 40 attempts, 23 completions out of that to get 313. Only one touchdown, 3 interceptions. The pressure was there. I think they had a lot to do with it. The coverage was good. Jay Daniels, on the other hand, man, no matter what they
Mm.
did, own them. I got it. RPO. I know which one to do. I know when to keep it. I know when to release it. You want to play man? Okay. I know I can run. I can move if I have to. They take advantage. The play calling has been great. Cliff Kingsbury out there auditioning for a head coaching job. Not sure if he'll take one, meaning that he could come back and stay. If he does come back and stay, oh, that means Jayden Daniels gets another year in his offense, and he's going to be even better. I would hate to see him lose him right now, but if the Chicago Bears don't, offer him anything, and I haven't heard of that, he'll probably be back. I don't know. He's not going to take any job. I don't think he would. Nobody wants to take the Jets job right now. So, we'll see. But, yeah, Jayden Daniels is just cool as the other side of the pillow. And, man, that dude just 22 of 31, 299 in the yards, 2 touchdowns. Brian Robinson had 2 touchdowns off of 77 yards. And, man, D. Brown. I don't want to mess up his first name. But that Brown
The
guy,
Army.
De'Ami Brown, 6 catches, 98 yards for the past couple of weeks, and they said he had a bad season. He was just like he didn't do much. He wasn't very productive. But now that we roll into the postseason, he is doing a great job, and we already know McLaurin is there doing his thing. I used to tell Nick that McLaurin was a top-notch receiver. He just doesn't have the quarterback yet. Well, damn it, he has the quarterback now. I do think the Washington Commanders could go to the Super Bowl. We'll see. They play the Eagles. Why do they play the Eagles? Because the Eagles beat the Rams earlier on Sunday in the NFC Divisional round in Philly. We end up seeing quite a bit of snow out there as well. It was just a snowy Sunday in the playoff football. You gotta love it. But the Eagles came out on top. This was not an easy game for the Philadelphia Eagles either. It got a little tougher than it did last week. The Rams were in this game pretty much till the end. This was a close game.
Yeah.
Times where it looked like the Eagles had knocked them out, and then Stafford and the Rams would come back. They held in there. They hung around. And I just always thought that if the Rams were going to hang in this thing, man, the veteran may actually have the advantage. The guy who has won a Super Bowl in Matt Stafford. And they almost did it. However, a huge sack, I believe, by Jalen Carter came up big for the Eagles. As the Rams were on their way to the end zone, it looked like it. Keep in mind, they were down 6. If they scored and gotten the extra point, they could have very well won this game, 29-28. But that didn't happen. They lost. The Eagles advanced. We've got the Commanders and the Eagles. But your thoughts on this game with the Philadelphia Eagles, if you saw what I saw, the Eagles are still good. They always find a way. But, man, I don't know. Were the Rams just that good, or are there some concerns with the Eagles as far as them, being good enough to get to that Super Bowl?
No concerns on my part. I thought for the better part of the season, since about week 7 or 8, that Philly was definitely good enough to play in February. Uh, I don't know if they will now, because I didn't know they'd be playing this Washington team, right? Like we didn't know this Washington team existed until yesterday. We just thought that they were just a good up and coming team. We didn't know that they had the capability of blowing out the most dominant team of the season. Even though I think Kansas City, they probably have the same record, but Detroit looked more dominant throughout the year. Kansas City had a lot of one possession wins. Uh, so we didn't know this Washington team, this Commander team existed. But I'm no surprises about the game. I mean, it was snowy, inclement weather. The snow was coming down pretty hard. Philadelphia, I think, just a little bit tougher of a team, a little bit more physical, and they edged out a physical win. But kudos to the Rams. I think they've got some nice building blocks over there. That first guy, even though he's got the little, he's trying to be a heel on the football field.
Yeah.
But damn, he's good. He's good. I mean, they couldn't do anything with him. They had the guy over there, the left tackle. I forgot his name. Who was supposed to be one of the best in the league, and he, this and that and all of that, and versus just running through him. So man, they've got some nice pieces over there with the Rams. I look for them to be even better next year. They can probably get a little more explosive. Like Nakua is good and Cup is good, but to me, and I'm not just saying this because they are lighter, complacent guys, but to me, they're just not explosive enough. They don't have a legitimate. Those are both very, very good receivers. Nakua is one hell of a playmaker, might be one of the best playmakers from the receiver position in the game. But to me, that's not a real deep threat. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have any fear of Nakua just running by anybody, but he's good. He's very good. But I
Yeah,
think that if there's
sometimes.
one thing they can improve on, is explosiveness, just a real deep threat.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Tutu Atwell was kind of their speed guy, maybe Demarcus Robinson at times. I hadn't seen Atwell, though. I don't know if he was injured or what. And then
Hmm.
as far as the other one, Demarcus Robinson, he made a play or two. But yeah, that's it. They
He
definitely
did.
need to upgrade with that, get a little bit more speed. And so Niners, that mean you need to get another safety. You need to make sure that the secondary, you got to lock it down.
Be
And
ready.
Rams, yeah, be ready because the Rams are definitely not going anywhere. They very well could have won that game if you take away the
Yep.
two fumbles that the Rams had as they were driving about to put points on the board. Those good drives were taken away from them, while the Eagles were, at least able to get 3. I think actually one time the Rams were able to get away with them not, getting any points. But again, it wasn't enough. Once again, man, Jalen Hurts still up and down to me, but Saquon always bailing them out. That's their go-to guy. He's the best
Yep.
player on their team, and he just got there. He's like KD to the Warriors, but that's what it is, and he's that good. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, the Eagles very well can get to the Super Bowl, but again, I definitely think Nick needs to worry, and all Eagle fans need to worry a little bit about Jaden Daniels. They can come in there and beat them, and Washington can very well be in the Super Bowl. I'm taking them that serious enough. I think I'll wait before I make my decision on who I like winning those games. I'll save that till like Wednesday or Thursday. I'll come back and do that. But yeah, I don't know, man. The Commanders, if they keep playing defense like they did the last 2 weeks, this is not going to be a patty cake walk for the Philadelphia Eagles. Not at all. And we could see for the first time in I don't know how long, a 6-seed team with a rookie quarterback going to the Super Bowl. I mean, like, that's ridiculous if he can pull that off.
That is crazy. That's crazy.
Ridiculous.
I mean,
Ridiculous.
that's almost. I'm trying to find an analogy in all the sports. The only analogy, because I'm thinking Magic Johnson, but Magic had Kareem, so he didn't. There's no Kareem on that team. Jarvis, the only analogy I can think of off the top of my head would probably be Tim Duncan. You know, the Spurs drafted Tim Duncan, and they were immediately the best in the league essentially after the Bulls. So but even that wasn't his rookie year though. I think that was like 2 years later after they won the championship. So if he's able to pull that off, man, this is going to be one of the greatest feats in sports history. I can't think of another situation where a rookie comes in and has to lead a team. I mean, the only difference in that team last year, Jarvis, the only major difference is Jay Daniels and ownership. And ownership, we don't want to exclude that. You know, but drafting Jay Daniels essentially changed that franchise, and I can't think of a player that changed a franchise m- more rapidly than the Tim Duncan draft. So Jay Daniels will be in company by himself essentially if he's able to pull that off.
Yeah. And shout out to Magic Johnson because Magic Johnson is a part of that ownership with the Washington Commanders, and
Yeah,
it just seems like
yeah, he
all
is.
he does is win. All he does is win, no matter what. He just won another World Series with his Dodgers. He's a part of the Commanders. We know what he's done with his as a player with the Lakers, and everything else that he's done off court. I'm probably missing another team, but all he does is win. So yeah, shout out to Magic Johnson because it just seems like as soon as he got a piece of the
Yeah,
pie, they got it right, and everything is just
right.
or the
And
dance.
and Jarvis, I'm not a gematria guy, but run some gematria on there. See what you can come up with, man. That's a spooky analogy because I didn't really think about it like that. I knew he was part of the ownership, but I didn't associate the two in that breath. So yeah, run some numbers on that, man. See what you can come up with. That'll be interesting. Might be worth a
Man,
good bet because I need my money
I,
back.
I might, I might, but at the same time, the hell with the gematria because gematria told me
I'm
the
with
Ravens
you.
would win the Super Bowl. Hey, right now, I just want to say that if it means anything to anybody, the Super Bowl odds have definitely changed now that we have some teams out. The Eagles are now the favorites to win the Super Bowl. Um, as of right now, they are plus 175, while Kansas City is at plus 225, Buffalo plus 250, and Washington at plus 600. So right now, Philly is the favorites to win, and they're saying that I guess they would beat KC. We just got that 2 Super Bowls ago. People are tired of seeing the Niners and the Chiefs. People are going to be tired of seeing the Chiefs and the Eagles if we get that for a second time. But before we kind of wrap this up, Terrence, do you think that that's what we could get here? Another
Yeah, I
Eagles and
think
Chiefs?
we'll get another rematch. Absolutely. Yeah, I would love for the Commanders to pull it off. I'm letting everybody know I'm rooting for the Commanders. I'm rooting for Jaden Daniels. I would love to see some history. As a matter of fact, I would love if Jaden Daniels stepped in and beat Mahomes. Like, imagine those conversations.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Yeah, I don't know. He'd break the internet though, that's for sure. And that would
Yeah,
be crazy. That'd be crazy. You talk about a viral moment, and what was the tweet or whatever that he said? Um, Everybody will know me or be saying my name or whatever one day, and they're doing that right now. And if he was to keep doing this and go any further to the Super Bowl, oh my God, that would. Yeah, you know what? And the Super Bowl is in New Orleans, He played at LSU. This would be like a
So
home.
I told you to run some numbers.
Yeah, let me run that. Let me run that. May have to do that and see what's going on. Man, this is crazy. But yeah, we've got all the teams wrapped up pretty much. The Chiefs, they beat the Texans. What a surprise! But there's some questionable calls from that game. If there's anything that you may
Mhm.
want to say about that game, where it's like everybody's
I
like, "Hey, man, the refs are in the Chiefs' back pocket. How can you beat them and the Chiefs?" Or do
mhm.
you just say, "Hey, man, look, they're still good. You can't stop." I don't know. What's your takes on it? Because there was quite a
I
few
will
calls
say
about.
right. I will say I think it's twofold. One, they are still a very good team, right? Like they're not the explosive Chiefs that we are accustomed to, but they are so good at every single position. And when you are that good, everything is magnified, even the bad calls, and they do get the benefit of a lot of bad calls. The problem is that they are so good that teams a lot of times those bad calls are literally what tips the game sometimes because of how good they are. It's just like if you are, not to make the reference of Dwayne Johnson, but it's like if you are playing up against the final boss of a video game, where there's, old school Bowser or my favorite and M. Bison. If you're playing up against those guys, uh, if the game glitches a little bit, you're not going to beat the final boss at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like you just not. If the controller slips out of your hand, or if the final boss does something they don't normally do, you're just not going to beat them. It's the same way with the Chiefs. Right now, they are the final boss. But when the refs come out and give them an extra 15 yards or an easy or a first down they shouldn't have, or unnecessary roughness calls that shouldn't be called, it's going to be very hard, especially for an undermanned Texas team who's already down their top two receivers to beat them. So, the Chiefs are just a team that you are going to have to go in and beat. And you got to go to Arrowhead. So you are going to have to beat them. You cannot let the referees be the dictator in the game. Now I think the referees show a little favoritism to Buffalo too. We saw some of that today with the offensive pass interference. It should have been offensive pass interference. So I don't know if the refs know what the hell they're going to do next week. They might be confused. But when it comes down to the refs and the Chiefs, I don't want to take anything away from the Chiefs. They are good. They are very good. But you have to beat them and not allow the refs to dictate the game.
All right. Okay. Well, so there it is. It's pretty much set. AFC Championship, NFC Championship. Oh man, we've gotten here so fast. The Washington Commanders are going to be in their first NFC Championship game in 33 years, and that number is very significant in gematria. But again, I'm not talking about that anymore. Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game on Sunday. They will be playing at the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's already set for the AFC matchup that I think everybody wanted to see. The matchup that I am sick of seeing. I'm sorry, but this is what they say: Brady versus Manning. Here it is: Bills at Chiefs. This is for the AFC. This is for the right to win the Super Bowl, to play for the Super Bowl championship. Um, you want to come back and do these later? I mean, I'm coming back to do it later.
Yeah, yeah.
Do
Let's
you
do that.
want to?
Let's digest some of. Yeah, let's digest some of the commentary throughout the week and just see maybe what the
Yeah,
lines are going to be, how they shift around, and we can. Yeah, like Thursday's a good time. Yeah, we can do Thursday.
right, right. Okay, so yeah, that's it pretty much. And I don't know the schedule for Sunday next week for Championship Sunday, but I mean I'm pretty sure Buffalo and KC will be first since they play what Mountain Standard Time, and I would probably no, I take that back. Philadelphia is
I think the
Eastern.
Eagles and the Commanders started at 3:30, and then
The Eagles will be first. Yeah,
yeah.
the Eagles will be first because they're on the Eastern time. So yeah, okay. So Commanders at Eagles first. That does sound about right. 3:30, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30, 2:30, something like that. And then you've got the AFC Championship game in most people's mind, their own Super Bowl, the Bills and the Chiefs, and that'll be around 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Here we go, man. That's it. Chiefs Bills, just as everybody expected. And then Commanders and Eagles, not quite as everybody expected. But I will say this: when it comes to the AFC, especially, really the NFL as a whole, but especially the AFC, the top three teams with the Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens, the AFC football is starting to remind me of the NBA of the 80s. You know, like it was the Lakers and the Celtics holding it down. If it wasn't for those two, who would be watching? And it's to the point to where, we know the Broncos are coming. We think that Bo Nix is that guy. We'll see what, Joe Burrow does next year. If they can get the defense better and protect him a little better. We know what Joe Burrow and his offense and the Bengals are capable of. So you could throw him in the mix too when he comes back. But it just seems to be like these are the guys. It's the same guys every year. No surprise.
Yeah.
And that was the same outcome that we used to get with the NBA in the 80s for the most part. And it just kind of what it seems like to me, like, okay, yeah, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, seen it once. I've seen it.
But you know what?
Here we go again.
You know what? The NBA should probably try to get back to that because those ratings are not looking good.
No, they're not. They're not. I listened to Adam Silver in an interview with Colin Cowherd over the week, and he answered everything pretty I thought pretty good, and fairly, but at the same time, just there's some things that the herd had for him that he really couldn't quite give us straight answers to, and in the nicest way possible, he did admit that, yeah, man, it's getting real competitive, all in three-point shooting and no mid-range game. You can't foul. You can't do anything anymore without it being a foul. It's just analytics has effed the game up. And I think a lot of players said that this would do this, like Charles Barkley and others, but they called him an idiot because, he's just a dumb guy who played basketball. What does he know? He played basketball. And I think he would know, that, some things, it's just not meant for this game. And it's really hurt the game. Don't just blame it on Steph Curry. Analytics has a lot to do with this too.
Analytics.
Along with players not playing and people injured or faking injuries to sit out, it's really made the NBA. I'm not gonna lie, trash. Don't you know Ja Morant is no longer eligible to win any single season MVP awards anymore this year? That means he didn't play enough games, or he wasn't available for enough games.
Neither is Luka.
Neither is Luka. But Luka is like, his injuries that just happened is going to be for a while, indefinitely. But with Ja, it's been like in and out of the lineup. I'm a season ticket holder now, and it sucks that you don't, I don't want to go to every game, especially if I know he's not playing. But you're missing too many games. He could have been comeback player of the year, possible MVP in the MVP running had he be playing more. Because he's not having a bad year at all, but he's not playing enough.
Right.
And so he's not getting these awards. These are the reasons why the NBA is trash. Nobody wants to see.
The one game I went to, he didn't play.
Yeah, people want to see their
But he played the next night.
My nephews get mad and say, I'm ready to go. John's not playing tonight when I take them to the game. They need to be there. And that's what hurts the game, in my opinion. He tried to make this whole excuse about how there's still so many other good players because these teams have so much depth. Now, we didn't come to see the depth. A lot of them didn't come to see the bench. They paid their hard-earned money, and a lot of it, to see the stars. And the stars need to be there. So, anyway. But I'm going to give them a try when they go to NBC. But if they don't get better, I'll be tuning out, checking out again pretty quick next year when they go to NBC. Terrence, that's all I've got with the football, man. We've got the Ohio State versus Notre Dame on a Monday night. And most people will be listening to this on Monday morning, so I'll go ahead and say it tonight. The Buckeyes and the Fighting Irish for the College Football National Championship. Who you taking on this? Ryan Day was supposed to be fired like weeks ago, and now look at that.
Yeah.
How you like
for the sake of my buddy Kevin Peterson that I know is watching, I'm going with Ohio State. But no, seriously, they look like the better team, so I'm going with Ohio State. They just seem to be dominant pretty much every area of football right now. Notre Dame's a tough team though. They're going to make it tough, but I think Ohio State will pull it out in the end.
Yeah, I think the Buckeyes got this as well. I would like to see Notre Dame win, though. I think I'll kind of be rooting for Notre Dame, too. It's just something about the coach. He's got some swag. The players love him. They play hard for him. He says all the right things. They like him. He's going to be around for a while. He's one of those coaches. As I told you about D'Amico
Yeah.
Ryan, sometimes when they like you, they just like you. And, he's going to be around for a while. But, yeah, I think that he's overachieved. So even losing this championship game, it doesn't, do anything to what he's doing right now and, his coaching career, creating his own legacy. But Ryan Day, I said this, two coaches who were said to get fired all year long, back and forth, on and off. We thought it would happen. Nick Sirianni in the NFL and Ryan Day in college. Wouldn't it be something if both of these are the two who are the champions when it's all said and done?
Could be.
It very well looking like it
Could
could be
be.
that. Keep an eye on that. If the Buckeyes win tonight, which I think they will, look out for Nick Sirianni to do the same. Another coach that we just couldn't wait for the Eagles to get rid of. And Harry Yee is still
Yeah.
playing, and here they are still winning. And they're not getting complete games out of their quarterback, and they still find a way. No N'Kobe Dean, the defense still found a way. Got to give them credit. They're still winning.
Yep, I agree.
What if Ryan Day and Nick Sirianni are both champions? That's going to be a huge, you can all shove it, like all of us who was talking. That's what that's going to be. Yeah, shove it, So anyway, I think that's pretty much it, man. Before we go, and this is why I probably need to come back on Tuesday and say a few things about the whole league and the head coaching carousal. We know Mike McCarthy is out in Dallas. We understand that there's some chatter going on about Deion Sanders possibly coaching the Dallas Cowboys. He's reached out to Jason Witten. Deion is saying now that, it would be intriguing, coaching the Cowboys, but I love it here in Boulder, Colorado. We heard all the things that he said about Colorado, but then now he's saying that, what was the last report before the weekend? That if
He wants to
Deion,
coach his sons.
Okay. Well, one thing was that if he was offered the job by Jerry Jones, he would take it. And now you're saying that he wants to.
He wants to coach his sons. Plural.
And where would that be?
It will be in Dallas. Jarvis, I think it's a done deal.
I'm going to have to play the clip back because I can remember back around that Labor Day when we came back for the new season.
Yep.
I said, hey, I can see Prime and his son in Dallas next year if Mike McCarthy is no longer the head coach of the Cowboys, and he's not, and here we go. That's why you don't pay attention to the things that they say when they're asked those questions. He's going to say all the right things about Colorado. But since day one, when Deion took the job at Jackson State, even though he wanted to go to his alma mater, Florida State, his whole goal was to get to the NFL, I believe. I know he likes to coach the young men. I know he likes to coach the kids. But I think his whole goal has been to get to the NFL. So, yeah, this looks like this is going to happen. It looks like it could happen. Some people think it should happen. My only thing that I would say to that, though, Terrence, is that if Prime is the alpha male that I thought he was, it's not going to work, though. I mean, as much as we would like to think his father-son is going to be this father-son relationship, at some point, Jerry has to still do it his way. Deion likes to talk just as much as Jerry likes to talk.
Right.
Prime is going to want to give his, his advice, his opinions, and he's going to want to go his route sometimes. Hey, man, can we do this my way for right now? For this one, let's do it my way. That's not going to sit right with Jerry. Jerry's going to say and do things that's not going to sit right with Prime. I think that they may think it could work, but I don't think it will last long if they did do this. But I predicted it all along, though.
Look, to people that, I'll just say this and we can get out of here. To the people that think he won't take that job and leave Colorado, that man's name is Prime Time. It ain't fucking Saturday morning cartoons. If he's offered a job, he's gone.
That's it. He's already been saying he will take it if he's offered to it. Yeah, you're right. He definitely will. He definitely will take it. Oh, man, Ohio State and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Can't wait to see how that's going to go tonight. Championship game. Hope everybody enjoys it. The NFC and AFC championship game is locked up. We've got the Bills at Chiefs. But first, we've got the Commanders at the Eagles. That'll be early Sunday, the first game. And that's it. Who's going to the Super Bowl? Super Bowl 59. Who's it going to be? In New Orleans. Man, the season flew by, but it's over. So, yeah, that's all we're going to do for now. I'll probably come back and talk about a few things, a few of these advancing stories throughout the week with these teams and some of the criticism that I heard from Lamar, if I agree with it or not, if it's too harsh or not. But I'm done. I'm off the wagon for anybody that wants to know. I said get off his damn back. Yada, yada, yada. He's the best football player in the world. If he is that, he does have to go further in the postseason. But let's hey, he can't catch that pass that he threw, to Mark Andrews. And he also, can't make him hold on to the ball. And he can't, call all the plays on his own on offense. And he can't call the plays on defense. And he's not the head coach. Some of these people get some criticism as well. That's all I ask before we just pile on them like they're ready to pile on them. Good luck with that, Lamar. But then again, when he gets into that Bentley or whatever it is he's pushing in the morning, it probably won't be that big of a deal. I don't know. But it looked like he going to win, and I hate it for him because it looks like he really does want it. We're going to talk about who's the MVP of the NBA on the next episode and, what you think about SGA out there in OKC. I said that OKC and the Celtics will be in the finals, and I'm looking pretty good right about now. Even though I didn't think the Cavs were going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference. These are teams and things that we'll talk about when we come back. I'll come back and talk my ish probably by myself on Tuesday since I'll have the time. It just depends on what's going on and what they're doing here with the head coaches. Oh, Mike Vrabel is the head coach of the Patriots. You don't really care about that, Terrence. It's okay. Yeah, and we're still looking to see who's going to be the next Jets head coach. And the Raiders are still looking. And that's about it. It's been kind of quiet. But Ben Johnson is available now since the Lions are out. And so is Aaron Glenn, the DC for the Lions, since, they're out. And I'll keep you posted if any Niner fans are still with me these days. If they still listen to me, I'll tell you what's going on with the 49ers and their defensive coordinator search. Because they have not hired Robert Saleh yet because he's getting head coaching job offers. So if he gets the Jaguar job or something, yeah, he's going to say to hell with the 49ers. And you can't blame him. But Shanahan has to do something there with the defense. All right, that's it. We're done. Good season, Terrence. You still made it further than we did.
Always.
Until next
Yeah, it's okay, man. Hey, all we can do is get ready to do it again next year.
I appreciate you for being here, man, and not being a sore loser, though. That's real
Nah.
talk. All right, man. Well, we're going to get out of here. It's another one in the books. Championship weekend. We're going to predict it on Thursday. Me and Terrence will be back, and we'll break any news if it happens throughout the week. WWE, we need to get some things in about that. Royal Rumble, as we get ready to talk about Royal Rumble as it approaches. Jay Cargill's return. We'll talk about all of that. A possible return coming up. And more. But until then, we out.
Peace out, y'all.